And welcome to the Runescape Halloween, Runescape 3, I guess, Halloween 2017 event. Let me tell you, it's been an event getting to this event, since I had to go all the way up to at least a tiny bit, so the first episode of Quest 101 in Aid of the Meraki in order to access Berg the Rot, just so I can do one of these. But anyways, while I'm in Angeville, I need to go to Drainer. No. I think you're who I need to speak to. Writer of ghostly tales. Hello, On God Gamings. Sorry, do I know you? Not yet, though any friend to death is a close friend, is a friend of mine. My name is Closure. Well, that's not an ominous thing to say, and that's an odd name. No more odd to me than the name Ungodly Gamings. As Death's name suggests his role, so too does mine. Why? Do you work in counseling in some way? Huh, you might well be joking, but I suppose in some way I do. Familiar with the phenomenon of ghosts? I'm sure I've met a few during my travels. The souls of the dead trapped here unable to let go and move on into the afterlife. It's my task to tell a story such that they can rest in peace and cross over. That must keep you busy. Indeed, in fact, it's a Halloween rush right now, and I could do with some assistance. Would you spare me some of your time? Sure. This counts as a quest. Including Berg the Rot. Yeah, I know. Sure, happy to help. What do you need? Some of these are always busiest for me. I just need someone to uncover the stories of some ghosts trapped here. For you to gather these stories for me and set their spirits free, you will require this book. Put your hands on your book entitled The Ghastly Grimoire. You don't need to have it on you to collect stories, only to read them. Okay, so what do I do and where should I start? To start off, I would suggest you search around Edgeville for Restless Spirit. You'll know when you see it. So you help 5 ghosts to move on, return to me, and I shall reward for you for your efforts. To which there are 4 more ghosts to find, and then you may assist me with one final task for an additional reward. 9 ghosts to be found in total, though only 5 are required to complete this Halloween event. Finding all 9 and helping Closure with one final task will lead to an additional reward. And as for what to do, that will vary depending on the story the ghost wishes you to know. You talk to them and figure it out. Quest journal has hints that point towards the last known locations. So I'll need a way to talk to ghosts too? Ghost speak? Typically one might, but while assisting me, you will inherently understand the ghosts I seek. Consider it a perk of the job. So to Edgeville we go. I'm curious to know. I just noticed it's 12:01 now. As in, that's the amount of sound? Yes, songs, actually. Oh. Please, food. Do you have any food? Yeah. Here, take this. There's some food, but it turns to ash in their mouth. No good water, please, for my children and me. Of course. I hope this helps you. And some water, but then turns to steam as it touches her lips. It was no good. We ran south to escape, but there was really no way to outrun it. Not really. If there were too many of us and not enough food, I gave what little I received to my children. Focused so much on living for them. I refused to accept it even when the heralds came for me, but in the end, it was inevitable. Since the ghost in the story has been added to your book, you also gain a ghostly treat. Oh, okay. Golly. Remember the ghost tree and find your prize. No, I meant to do that. Heroes of the Apocalypse. We saw it last night, hanging low on the western horizon. The entire village gathered to watch its illustrious dance. In ethereal glow, a single pinpoint more captivating than any of the stars in the night sky. It hung there for what seemed like an eternity, every man, woman, and child fixated on its beauty. It throbbed and ebbed, pulsating in size just like a beacon. It was calling to us, the entire world stopped to listen. Trees fell silent in their senseless rustling, the birds dared not rise to challenge to the challenge of a duet. Like a swan song, to have heard its call was to see true beauty in the frailty of life. To gaze upon it was to know that peace sound through the turmoil and struggles. Families hug tight, strangers lock gazes of accord. Lovers soothingly embrace the world and never known a truer harmony or inner peace to have felt since long before these accursed wars. We watched a little longer, breath held for that coming crescendo, then a flash. The light rose like a pillar into the sky, and then darkness fell across the earth like a final curtain. I held no fear in my heart. Death had come to Farinthi. Those that had survived the flash chose to flee south. The western horizon, now black, cracked and torn as though the gods themselves had plucked the light from the ground in their forever. Strange affliction has begun to creep upon the borders of our envoy. Food once ripe has turned to ash in her mouth. The water we'd rationed to quench her thirst has turned to steam on the touch of her cracked, parched lips. For many may not live to see the lights of the southern border. Famine had come to Farinthi. The earth beneath our feet is hot. It burns with the fever of blackened ash. The horizon has come to greet us, and now all around us is desolation. So life drains from this world, so does it from us too. Our skin is now cracked beyond any repair. Our eyes red and sore, hair as limp, patchy, and matted. Wrapped in weeping bandages, we soldier on. When animals we had brought with us either fled or succumbed to similar fates, for we may now never escape this damnation, this torment, pestilence that come to Farinthi. By the way, Farinthi is what was the wilderness before the God Wars happened. I am alone now in my journey, yet I am not. With every scratch of charcoal on Papyrus, I sense some watching. My vision is hazy, but on the edges I see them there, roaring, clashing with steel and bone and rock. Torment in death is the same as it shall be in life. The very flesh scarred and torn falls from my frame. Warriors and wizards and beasts in the name of the very gods that have now forsaken this land. Souls and bones burn deep and ache with a raw fire, and yet that threatens to consume me too. Wars always call Farinthi home. Fear I am finally home. Okay. Off to Daemonim. I'm going to have to take off all my armor, apparently. Hello, sir. Something came from me in the depths. My soul is lost and abandoned. How do I escape? Of course. In we go. Oh. There's no escape, either. We'll unlock until everything in the room is dead. That includes you. You can't fool it. It's watching you. Now, this isn't a hilarious story to share with your grandchildren. This is a door you'll die on. You keep going, see what happens. That's the spirit. You don't have the right key. You can't save them from it. I hear something. It's coming for you next. You should be afraid. Yeah. Your strength level 52 to do that. You're too weak. You'll always be too weak. You won't get out this way. Well, we're stuck here. Mine is completely illegible. Primordial gate. Stones are entirely inert until can be smithed with basic material, metals and cloth. Acquire catalyst, anima, or blood. Only a small amount necessary. Put it into the portal. If too close, too much energy, feedback loop, and unpredictable. I mean, usually take everything. Wait, I can bind this stuff? Now, if only it was a strong defense potion, we'd be set. Oh, I'm looking at the wrong one. I mean, my tool belt should work, right? Maybe yes, maybe no. I mean, no. Because I'm pretty sure my tool belt has... better than that. Oh, it's not even telling me. Oh, you're actually giving me experience. Is this infinite? No. No, it isn't. But if you die, usually this doesn't happen, right? Like, usually your ring... What is wrong with my ring? It's covered in blood. Why, though? It's not hot enough. Perhaps it requires more air. Surely that won't work, right? Okay. Never mind, it does. Oh, is it because something's wrong with this dungeon, so there's no airflow in it? It's a lot of free experience. I mean, barely, I guess. It is only Navite. Now that I think about it, I have way too many of these. I only need 3. You gotta use a spinning wheel, you prick your finger and blood runs onto your ring of kinship. Oh. It's already covered in blood from the time that I tried exercising that spirit, I think. Can I make a gate stone? Yes. Make a primordial gate stone. Charge to create a teleport unit, but this one requires a more sanguine binding agent. Maybe that'll work? Yes, it does. Shit. I'm pretty sure you're supposed to be wearing that. Marked with your blood. And then if I yes. If I use it on that, am I going to get the same feedback loop? Yes, when the beast tries to teleport in, it will become forever trapped in the veil beyond the Gatestone portal. Show me the way out. You showed us all. If the ghost and the story has been added to your book, you also gain a ghost treat. Ah, thank you. Now let's see. The group Gatestone. The rune-plated warrior spotted the group near the dungeon entrance. They were hunched and quiet, seated on rocks and half walls. He approached the only one who met his gaze, a red-haired woman with dark rings around her eyes. "You got any good?" "He had a dungeon done in 3 to 4. Room for one?" Oh, wow. Her eyes moved to the floor. Another in the group coughed a dusty, dry cough. "You deaf? I'm looking for a group. I'm in for anything on the abandoned floors." No one shifted on a rubble seat, looking uneasily to the others. They ignored her, hooded heads to the floor, resigned, eyes wide with something like terror. She lifted a feeble fist to the man. On her finger was a ring. Kinship, it was dull and dark. They stepped closer and saw that it was caked in dry blood. The instinct seemed to fall away from about him. An ache throbbing in his temple. One of the group moved to stand, concealed beneath the hood. He was tall, and he tapped the staff he was holding. Twice and thrice on the stone slabs, gray, gaunt fingers pulled back the hood. In a drawn, gaunt face of colorless gray, there were 2 empty eyes, sockets into nothingness. Stumbled backwards on the floor. The girl sobbed, and the tall man shook. Rings of kinship, caked in dry blood, poured out of the tall man's eye sockets. They bounced dully on the floor. The man desperately clawed his body as the rings clattered out of those depthless eyes over and over and over. He woke on an abandoned floor, far from the tables and workbenches of the starting room. There was no one else with him. No monster, no woman, no tall man. Just a square room with 4 doors, each on their own wall. Old rhythms came back to him, removing his fear of the comforting routine of a demon-hated floor. He searched room for keys, looked for resources that he might use, and then moved to the door. The door was locked, the keyhole a dark circle. He checked his pockets to be sure that he hadn't somehow been given a key. To the next door. This time a keyhole was a red pentagon. Panic, he ran to the following door, a silver rectangle, the next a yellow circle. From cabinet to table, he searched for a key. He plunged his hands into a small pool. All he could find were only rocks at the bottom. Everything everywhere was empty. He heard the crying, a delicate sobbing from behind the dark circled door. Stopped the keyhole and looked through. He reached one of the group near the dungeon entrance. Hunched and quiet, seated on rocks and half walls. He approached the only one who met her gaze, a rune-plated warrior with dark rings around his eyes. Okay. Oh, then. Considering I absolutely love doing dungeoneering, hopefully... And I'm the one... I wear ruin. Uh-oh. To Varrock we go. Nice textures, mate. Imagine this going like 4 episodes. I'm coming for you, Gilda. Oh, okay. It is in the ancient magics that I believe my old answers lies. You know, smoke, shadow. Does anyone ever use shadow and stuff like that? Blood and ice. Ritual old elements. Each element represented, each burned around the symbol. North sends cold, dominant over the others. All light is shunned to the east. To the west, all breath is choked away. To the southward gaze burns the very essence of life. Blood. With this ritual we shall be together again, my love. Find some candles, and now the dark isn't quite so frightening. Oh, we'll see about that. I need smoke. Is that even pointful? Shadow. Blood. Ice. Alright, blood red. Blue and white. Why is it Zamorakian, though? Because Zamorakian isn't... It should be Zerosian, if you ask me. Yeah, there's something wrong here. Oh, I see. Okay, I was gonna say. And I guess they just didn't want to deal with giving the other two, like, weird coloring. Oh, we've done the trick. I should talk to the ghost. So I assume that blew up and killed everything. I can finally reunite with my Gilda. Thank you. Story and his bad attitude thing. More stuff. Always and forever. Trent isn't sure if it's his determination or grief that keeps him awake. There's two things: the grim underworld is real, and that's where his Gilda awaits him. Several runestones props against the corner of his room. He's spent hundreds of spent runes are littered across the floor. Tomes of magical ley lines and manuscripts describing the legends of the afterlife decorate his desk. Calculations etched in chalk line the walls of his room. Dishes and dirty laundry are spread throughout, though it has been days since Trent has last eaten or washed. During their wedding, Trent promised his beloved that even death couldn't separate them. It's a promise he intends to keep. When an incurable illness turned Gilda's crimson hair sickly white, Trent knew that their time together was limited. No cure for Gilda's illness. All he could do was comfort her, follow her to wherever her spirit may go. Trent worked tirelessly on teleportation spells that would allow him to follow his beloved into the next life. Even death can separate us, they whispered to each other. Tears soaked into their faces as Gilda closed her eyes for the final time. Great music there, mate. There is no time for grief. Their separation is only temporary. At Gilda's funeral, Trent focused on the combination of runestones that would allow him to enter the afterlife. Trent's academic resolve dammed the flood of anguish as he watched the body of his beloved lower into its final resting place. Trent pored over his etchings, his gaze unfocused by hunger and fatigue, when noticing that a week had passed since Gilda's burial. Momentary clarity cuts through the exhaustion. Trent lunges towards his pack of runestones, assembling an untested combination of runes, grabbing his waste pack. Currently, an incantation wills the arcane energies of the stones to life. Trent finds himself in the sweltering humidity of Kermasian jungle. Another failure. Reaching into his waste pack, extracting a familiar combination of runes, and teleports himself back home. Trent flies in a rage as his house comes into focus, his wizened mind unraveling from anger. The handful of runes breathes all of his impotent fury into them. The stones crackle with power. This is his most excruciating teleportation spell yet. Trent awakens to dark purple skies. Kneeling next to him is Gilda, her arbor and legs cascading over him. Searches Trent's waste pack, containing the runes which grant him a teleport home after each experimental jaunt. His gaze pierces into Gilda, her eyes widening from surprise before falling with acceptance. A sad smile snakes across her face as she helps Trent to his feet. Yeah, it blew up. The man she loves is as naked and ethereal as every other soul in this realm. Not even death can separate us, Trent said with a smile. Takes Gilda's hands into his own, guiding her as they cross the Newman Bridge together, taking the first step into their journey forever. Well, that worked. I mean, I don't know if that's a bad, like, if that's a negative or not. But that's gonna be it for this episode, so, if you enjoyed this video, you know what to do. See ya!